Suddenly, there was a deep rumbling sound. Thomas's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late. Cinders and ashes! We're stuck! And they were. Late that night, Thomas still hadn't returned. Percy was getting really worried. Thomas is in trouble. Gordon and James both took no notice. Worry wheels. Fussy funnel. Please, can we find Thomas? Right away. Percy was really nervous, but his lamp shone brightly in the dark. The tracks creaked and wobbled, but Percy pressed on. Percy! Thomas was really happy to see his friend. Don't worry, I'll have you out in a few puffs. Percy pulled. And he puffed. And he puffed. And pulled. And finally, Thomas was free. Oh, thank you. I'm glad to be really useful. It was dawn before the tracks were cleared. Then, Percy and Thomas made their way home. Thomas is here! Percy saved the day. I'm sorry, Percy. We must do a better job of listening to you in future. Percy was really pleased. Bill, Ben and Fergus. Fergus is a small railway traction engine who works on the island of Sodor. One day, he was on his way to the quarry. He had a special job to do for Sir Topham Hatt. Hello, where are you going? To the quarry. Watch out for the twins. They love to make mischief. I won't let young rascals rattle me. Well, you don't know the twins like I do, Thomas added. Fergus arrived at the quarry. He went to work with Mavis and the twins. I'm afraid the cars are in a mess. Not to worry, we'll soon sort them out. Bill and Ben were really delighted. Now we'll have some fun. Yeah, we'll have the old boiler in a spin. Fergus liked helping Mavis, but he didn't like the way the twins were behaving one bit. Bill banged his cars hard. Some rocks fell onto the tracks. That's not how you do it. Do it right. Bill didn't like being ordered about by a silly traction engine. I can do what I want. Then, Ben pushed his cars to block the line. Fergus was stuck. Out of my way! But Ben just grinned. The next day, the men were blasting rocks. Wait for the all-clear signal. Do it right. There he goes again. Do it right from morning till night. Keep your funnel out of our quarry. The quarry master sent both Bill and Ben to collect a rock crusher from the harbor. Fergus was left in peace.
Oh, so he gets some peace and quiet. Murdoch, this isn't even your episode. Get out!
The twins were still thinking about Fergus. He's just an old fusspot. He's always telling us, do it right. Well, the next thing he tells us to do, we'll do it wrong.
Jesus, they have goblin laughs.
Bill and Ben both steamed back to the quarry. The rock crusher was heavy. It shook the rails as they went along. The blasting has made the rock face unsafe. Don't go near it. Do it right. But the twins took no notice of Fergus, and they were very naughty. As roughly as they could, they rattled the load towards the cliff. Look out! And he rushed forward. He bumped both Bill and Ben out of the way. His driver jumped to safety as the rocks began to fall. Fergus was covered in rocks from his funnel to his footplate. It took a long time to dig him out, and no one worked harder than Bill and Ben. At last, Fergus was free. Bill and Ben were both really ashamed. We shouldn't have been so naughty. We're sorry. Good. From now on, we can all do it right. Together! Yippee. The Old Bridge. Rheneas and Skarloey work on the most beautiful line on the island of Sodor. They love puffing through the forest and over the rivers. An old bridge crosses one of the rivers. Some of its beams were rotten and now had been damaged by a storm. Skarloey chuffed happily along. He didn't see the broken rail until it was too late. He dangled dangerously above the water. Help! Soon enough, Rheneas pulled him to safety. A few days later, Sir Topham Hatt came to the sheds. The old bridge has been mended, but the workers' freight cars have been left there. Skarloey, I need you to collect them. Yes, sir, Chef Skarloey. But Skarloey didn't want to go onto the bridge again. When Skarloey arrived, he saw the freight cars on the other side. He started to cross, but stopped. He looked down in the rushing water. Skarloey was scared. He remembered what had happened to him before. Come on, Skarloey, called his driver. The bridge is safe now. But Skarloey wouldn't cross the bridge, and he and his driver went home instead. We'll pick up the freight cars, said Rheneas' driver. But if you don't cross the bridge soon, said Rheneas, Sir Topham Hatt will be cross. Now, Rheneas had to take Skarloey's loads as well as his own. Each morning, he collected the freight cars and puffed along the bridge, with the heavy loads. Finally, Sir Topham Hatt came to see Skarloey. "If you want to cross the old bridge, you must stay here and shunt freight cars," he scolded. "I can't have engines that won't do as they are told." "Sorry, sir," said Skarloey sadly. The next morning, Rheneas took Skarloey's heavy freight cars as usual. Then he puffed and heaved through the countryside towards the bridge. He puffed so hard that he ran out of water. "Bother!" The yard manager spread the news. "Rheneas has broken down. We must go help him," said Skarloey bravely. And he set off immediately. Skarloey was scared, but determined. He rolled slowly up to the edge. The bridge creaked loudly. The river seemed deeper than ever. "I must rescue my friend," whispered Skarloey. He chuffed slowly onto the bridge. The bridge groaned as he rolled forward. But Skarloey puffed on and on and on, and finally his driver coupled him up and pulled Rheneas to safety. "Thank you," said Rheneas. "You were very brave to help me." Skarloey is no longer afraid of the bridge. In fact, he loves his journeys across the bridge more than ever. Edward's Brass Band. Summer is a busy time on the island of Sodor. Vacationers have so much to see and do. There are trips to the seaside, balloon rides in the country, and the brass band playing in the park. One morning, Edward was in a hurry. He didn't even stop to say hello to Stepney. Oh. Thomas was pleased to see Edward. "What's up? Your smile is as broad as your smoke box." "I'm on my way to pick up the brass band," replied Edward. "Their concert is tomorrow night." "Don't crack your smoke box," teased Thomas. Edward couldn't wait to hear the brass band play their wonderful music. He was so excited about meeting the brass band that he didn't notice the giant crane. It was unloading a huge ship's boiler. Suddenly, the crane swung the boiler and knocked Edward right off the tracks. Cranky had been watching the whole time. "You useless little engines, always getting in the way." Poor Edward. Sir Topham Hatt came immediately. "We will take you to the fitness yard, and Bertie will have to meet the brass band instead of you." Edward was sad. That night, a raging storm rolled in. The fitters worked through the night, trying to mend Edward. The rain pelted down. Now Edward felt sad and very damned. Morning came, and Sir Topham Hatt arrived. "Please, sir," pleaded Edward, "will the fittings be done soon?" Not soon enough, I'm afraid. The band can't wait. I'm sorry, Edward. Bertie will have to take them instead. Edward felt worse than ever. Meanwhile, Bertie collected the brass band, and he set off immediately. He bummed cheerfully along the country roads, but then there was trouble ahead. Last night's storm had flooded the roads. Bertie's driver decided to take a shortcut. But the problem was, it was very muddy. Bertie's wheels didn't stand a chance. They scooted and skated. They slid and they skipped. But Bertie ended up stuck. Ah, shit, he groaned. Ugh. Bertie revved his engine, but his wheels just spun round and round. He couldn't budge. The brass band were worried.
We mustn't be late for our concert. Tune up your tuba,
cried the leader of the band. We'll call for help. By now, Edward was mended and hooked up to his coaches. I can hear music, said Charlie. That's not music, wheezed Edward. That's an alarm. And the two raced off to the rescue. The musicians were delighted to see their old friend.
Look, Edward saved!
So was Bertie. I'll get you to the concert in time, Edward cried.
Yes,
Thank
mate.
you. They all spoke at the same time. Mustn't be late, mustn't be late. That night, the concert was a great success. Everyone loved the music. But no one loved it more than Edward the Blue Engine.
As everybody knows, and as they leave the station, you'll hear the whistle blow. Speeding down the hillside, the whistles blow with pride. Driver checks the signal and whistles one more time. Engines blow your whistles, Toby ring your bell. Gordon and Henry, Thomas as well. Engines blow your whistles, and let's all have some fun. Engines blow your whistles, let's hear the whistle song. Every whistle's different, no two will sound the same. It helps to warn of danger if something's in your way. Whistles are important, as every engine knows. Clear the line ahead now, when the whistle blows. Engines blow your whistles, Toby ring your bell. James and Edward, Percy as well. Engines blow your whistles, and let's all have some fun. Engines blow your whistles, let's hear the whistle song. An engine lost his whistle and could not make a sound. It really was a problem until one could be found. Cause an engine's not an engine if it hasn't got a whistle. Hear the whistle blow. Engines blow your whistles, Toby ring your bell. Gordon and Henry, Thomas as well. Engines blow your whistles, and let's all have some fun.
on, give 2 short blasts. 1, 2, 3 means clear of the line. Let's blow our whistles one more time.
Engines blow your whistles, Toby ring your bell. James and Edward, Percy as well. Engines blow your whistles, and let's all have some fun. Engines blow your whistles, let's hear the whistle.
What's the matter with Henry? It was the end of a busy day. The engines had been working all day long. They were feeling pleased and proud, except Henry. He was feeling ill. "What's the matter with you, Henry?" Thomas asked. "My boiler grumbles." "Maybe it's grumbling at you," teased Thomas. "That's not funny," hissed Henry. "You just don't care." But Emily saw that Henry was leaving a puddle of water behind. She was worried. Next morning, Sir Topham Hatt arrived. "Thomas, Percy, Henry, I want you to collect some freight cars and take them to the docks." Yes, sir, cried Thomas and Percy. Henry watched the engines puff away. He didn't feel well. "Useful engines don't complain," Henry muttered. He was leaving water everywhere as he chuffed towards the coaling plant. When Emily saw this, she was more worried than ever. Then, Thomas and Percy overtook Henry. "Hurry up, Henry," Percy tooted. "I can't go any faster," Henry chuffed miserably. "You're just being lazy," teased Thomas. By the time Thomas and Percy reached the coaling plant, they had a naughty plan. "Please, sir," said Thomas, "Henry wants to take more freight cars." "He is bigger," added Percy. The yard manager agreed. Meanwhile, Emily was talking to Sir Topham Hatt. "I'm worried about Henry." "Perhaps his tubes are leaking," replied Sir Topham Hatt. "You better check." By the time Henry reached the coaling plant, Thomas and Percy had already left. "Why did Thomas and Percy leave me so many freight cars?" moaned Henry. "They know I'm not feeling well." "We'll still have to take them," said his driver. Henry chuffed and puffed and pulled his long line of freight cars. "You can do it, Henry," encouraged his driver, but it was no use. Henry ground to a halt. Just then, Emily arrived. "Are you all right, Henry?" "No," moaned Henry. "I'm stuck." Henry's fireman uncoupled the freight cars. Emily changed tracks and then hooked up to Henry. "Oh, thank you, Emily," wheezed Henry. Emily and Henry puffed into the docks. "Well done, Emily," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Thank you, sir." Then he spoke to Henry. "You were brave, Henry. You weren't feeling well, but you still tried to pull the heavy freight cars." Thomas and Percy felt ashamed. "We're sorry, Henry," said Thomas. "We didn't think you were really sick." added Percy.
Go back and collect Henry's freight cars, said Sir Tom Pat sternly.
Yes, sir, whispered the two engines. Soon, Henry was mended and back at work. You're looking so much better, said Emily.
Oh, they mended my tubes,
But they didn't even look at my brakes, my gauges, and my squeaky wheels. Emily smiled. All in good time, Henry. Poor Henry. James and the Queen of Sodor. The engines on the island of Sodor want to be responsible, reliable, and really useful. They are happiest when Sir Topham Hatt gives them important work to do. James thinks his work is very important indeed. He is very proud of his shiny red paint and likes to look very clean and smart. One day, Percy puffed the washdown. My whistle's clogged. He tried to blow hard to clean it out, but instead blew mud all over Gordon. Silly, huffed Gordon. Percy was trying not to laugh. Keep your dirt away from me. I'm collecting the mayor today. I should do that. Really? Chuckled James. You'd need a washdown first. Huh, snorted Gordon. James just laughed. Soon, James had collected the mare and puffed proudly away. Just look at me, Gordon. Show off, muttered Gordon. Sir Topham Hatt came to the sheds. I needed an engine to collect the Queen of Sodor. Who's the Queen of Sodor? Asked Thomas. A leaky old barge, replied Sir Topham Hatt. She needs to go to the workshops. It's dirty work, I'm afraid. Just then, James shunted into the sheds. This gave Gordon an idea. Is collecting the Queen of Sodor important work too? Very important work. Do I have a volunteer? Very important work, exclaimed James. I'll do it. Then it's settled. She's waiting at the canal. Thank you, sir, said James. Gordon was delighted. His plan was working. I'm here to collect the Queen of Sodor, announced James. There she is, the yard manager said. James was furious. That old tub? Gordon tricked me. He wants me to get dirty. I'll show him. A shiny engine like me never gets dirty. Soon, James set off with the Queen of Sodor. It was a long journey to the workshops. Shiny and clean, puffed James. Then there was trouble. The tall funnel of the old barge crashed through a pipe. James was sure he'd get covered in sludge. But he didn't. Shiny and clean, he declared again. The workmen soon cleared the mess, and then James was on his way again. He arrived safe and sound, and pleased that the dirty work was done. When James returned to the sheds, he was very proud of himself. How did you manage to stay so clean? I have to stay clean, boasted James, in case there's any important work to do. Just then, Percy returned from the quarry. My whistle's clogged again. Watch out, James. Dust went everywhere. I did warn you. You'll need to go to the washdown now, teased Thomas. Good, snorted James. It'll make me readier than ever. I'm such a splendid engine. Ugh. You hearing this bitch, bro? Ugh. The Refreshment Lady's tea shop. It was a hot summer's day on the island of Sodor. The engines were busy taking cars full of slate from the quarry. The heat and dust made their axles ache. We've shunted every single car in the quarry today, wheezed Scarloey. But I'm too thirsty to feel useful, complained Peter Sam. The sunshine made people thirsty too. The Refreshment Lady was keeping very busy at the tea rooms. The next day, Sir Topham Hatt had news for Peter Sam. The Refreshment Lady needs a new place for another tea room. I can find a beautiful place. I knew it. It will be a piece of cake. Tea rooms don't live in cakes. Oh, it's just my way of saying it'll be fun and easy to find the right place. Peter Sam puffed along to the wooden way and the old castle causeway and the whispering waterfall. Thank you, Peter Sam, said the Refreshment Lady, but I don't know what to do. I can't make up my mind. What a shame. I can't build a tea room in every single place. Peter Sam was upset. He didn't feel useful. That night, there was a storm. Lightning flashed and thunder crashed. The engines talked excitedly about the storm. All except Peter Sam. He was thinking about the Refreshment Lady's tea room. The next morning, Sir Topham Hatt came to the sheds. Peter Sam, I want you to go and help Rusty clear the storm damage. Yes, sir, Peter Sam said, and hurried away. At last, he thought he could be really useful. Peter Sam soon found Rusty. The storm had swept the shed onto the line. Driver says the shed is useless now. It's not a shed, exclaimed Peter Sam. It's an old coach. And that gave him an idea. Back at the yards, his driver spoke to Sir Topham Hatt. Peter Sam thinks this old coach can be turned into a tea room. I'll have Jem take a look at it. I'm sure he can repair it. Sir Topham Hatt was right. In no time, the old coach had turned into a lovely tea room on wheels. The Refreshment Lady could hardly believe her eyes. Woo! It's beautiful! I told you it'd be a piece of cake. Sir Topham Hatt paused for a moment. With many cakes in it, I'm sure. Then he turned to Peter Sam. And you, Peter Sam, will have the honors to pull the tea room special. I'll be proud to, sir, replied Peter Sam. Now the refreshment lady serves refreshments all to her favorite places. At the Woodland Way, the old Castle Causeway, and the Whispering Waterfall. Peter Sam is a happy engine now. Well, tooted Peter Sam, she did say it would be a piece of cake. The Spotless Record. A brand new tank engine was racing across the island of Sodor. He was very excited, and he didn't want to be late. Right on time, said Sir Topham Hatt. Thomas and Percy looked at the big tank engine. He was very impressive. This is Arthur, said Sir Topham Hatt. He's here to shun freight cars and pull freight. Nice to meet you, Arthur puffed politely. And he's got a spotless record, added Sir Topham Hatt. What's a spotless record? Whispered Percy. It means he's never been naughty or made a mess, replied Thomas. The three engines were soon at work. Thomas and Percy were bumping freight cars. They knew this was naughty, but they were having fun. Join in, Arthur, said Thomas. No thank you, wheezed the new engine. He had never been naughty before. Arthur's first job was to push a truckload of fruit to market. The Troublesome Trucks started to sing. Root toot toe, we want to go. The fruit's going off 'cause you're too slow. How rude, huffed Arthur. This gave Thomas a naughty idea. Sir Topham Hatt doesn't like the Troublesome Trucks singing, said Thomas. You must stop them. Thank you, said Arthur. I will. Arthur was glad he can keep the trucks in order. He'll never stop the trucks from singing, laughed Thomas. Arthur chuffed cheerfully through the countryside. Soon, the Troublesome Trucks started to sing again. Chuff, 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 you tug and huff, but you're so rusty you can't even puff. Stop singing, huffed Arthur. Trucks should be doing as they're told to do. The Troublesome Trucks were cross. If they couldn't sing, they would teach Arthur a lesson. We'll show him, they giggled. You can't push us around. Arthur struggled over bridges, and he huffed and puffed through tunnels. He came over the big hill. You can't catch us, laughed the Troublesome Trucks. Whee! But there was trouble ahead. Duck had stopped at the crossing at the bottom of the hill. Arthur's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late. Squash fruit flew everywhere. Arthur was upset. His spotless record had been ruined. Beep, beep. Oh, Arthur, what a mess, puffed Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt was very annoyed. What happened here? The Troublesome Trucks were singing. I told them to stop, but they made me go too fast. Please, sir, it's my fault. Thomas told Sir Topham Hatt what he had done. Arthur, it's, fruitless for me to say more. But, Thomas, you must help clear this mess up. Harvey arrived with the breakdown crane. He could see there was a lot of work to be done. Everyone worked hard. And and Thomas took the loaded trucks away. That evening, Arthur was having the squash fruit cleaned out of his funnel. "Hello, Thomas." "Arthur, I'm sorry I played a trick on you," said Thomas. "Thanks for owning up to it," replied Arthur. "Maybe Spotless Records are meant to be broken," smiled Thomas. "And then mended again," finished Arthur, "just like friendships."
The engines always think they are so clever, and so they like to bump the trucks around. They bump them in their sidings, they bump them in their yard. They better beware, they better take care, they better be on their guard. Because those troublesome trucks will get the engines every time. Troublesome trucks will run the engines on the line. They push them here, push them there, till they're going too fast. Then they push them once again, laughing while they crash. Troublesome trucks will get the engines every time. Troublesome trucks will run the engines on the line. They don't care how big they are, to them it's just a game. Those troublesome trucks will get them all the same. Diesel thinks he is so very smart, bumping all the trucks around the yard. He gets them all in line, then bumps them one more time. Now he thinks that he's in charge. The trucks decide to play another joke, and Diesel's plans will all go up in smoke. He pulls and he pulls until he breaks the chain. On, he's off the rails again. Because those troublesome trucks will get the engines every time. Troublesome trucks will run the engines on the line. They push them here, push them there, till they're gone too fast. Then they push them once again, laughing while they crash. Troublesome trucks will get the engines every time. Troublesome trucks will run the engines on the line. They don't care how big they are, to them it's just a game. Those troublesome trucks will get them all the same. The engines will try hard to make a stand, looking for a way to follow their plans. Nothing seems to work, it just makes matters worse. Trucks are also underhand. They bide their time until they get their chance, and no one is expecting if they pounce. They push and they push until it's all too late. On. The trucks have won again, because those troublesome trucks will get the engines every time. Troublesome trucks will run the engines on the line. They push them here, push them there, till they're going too fast. Then they push them once again, laughing while they crash. Troublesome trucks will get the engines every time. Troublesome trucks will run the engines on the line. They don't care how big they are, to them it's just a game. Those troublesome trucks will get them all the same. They don't care how big they are, to them it's just a game. Those troublesome trucks will get them all the same.
Toby's Windmill. There are many beautiful places on the island of Sodor, The engines loved the pretty watermill and the peaceful canals, as well as the castle on the lake. Toby's favorite place is the old windmill. The windmill is worn, and it cannot make too much flour now. Toby still loves to watch the sails go around, and the miller is a good friend of his. Good morning, Toby. One day, Toby was collecting a load of flour to take to the market. But he was busy watching the windmill sails that he forgot to look where he was going. All the flour was ruined, and the miller was upset. If I can't sell my flour, I shall have to shut down the windmill. I'm sorry, sighed Toby. Harvey arrived to put the cars back onto the tracks. Toby was sad. What will the miller do if the mill shuts down? It's a shame, said his driver, but we must hurry, Toby. There's a storm on the way. Toby couldn't sleep that night. It wasn't the thunder and lightning that kept him awake. He was still worried about the miller. That stormy night, the old windmill was struck by lightning. The next morning, Toby shoved carefully along his branch line. The storm had torn trees from the ground, and farm buildings had been damaged. Then, Toby saw the most shocking sight of all. The windmill is broken, he cried. This means the end of my business, said the miller sadly. I can't afford the timber to make the repairs. Toby really wanted the help. There must be a way. Suddenly, his driver saw a fallen tree ahead. Harvey and Terrence were clearing the tracks. Sir Topham Hatt was cross. This storm has caused confusion and delay. Remove this tree immediately. But Toby had an idea. Please, sir, the windmill has been broken. The wood from this tree can mend it and make it work again. What a splendid idea, agreed Sir Topham Hatt. Toby proudly took the tree to the miller. The miller was delighted. Now we can build our windmill back up, and it will be as good as new. Toby watched as the work began. It took a long time, but at last, the windmill was complete. Sir Topham Hatt was most impressed. The miller was grateful. Thank you, Toby. Your idea saved my windmill. Toby beamed happily. Now the windmill produces more flour than ever before. And Toby makes twice as many deliveries to the market. He never tires of watching the sails go round. And he is very proud that the miller now calls it Toby's Windmill. Bad day at Castle Loch. Donald and Douglas are Scottish twins. They enjoy working on Sir Topham Hatt's railway. But sometimes they longed for Scotland, their old home. One day, Sir Topham Hatt called them to the docks. Lord Callan's castle is finally reopening. There should be a grand celebration tomorrow. I need you to take banners, bunting, and bagpipes to the castle. Harvey, you must load them straight away. Yes, sir, chuffed Harvey. The twins were excited. Going to Lord Callan's castle would be like going home again. Soon, Harvey had finished loading the freight. Where are you going? Asked Percy. To Lord Callan's castle, Donald proudly announced. By Castle Loch. I'm glad I'm not going to Castle Loch, wheezed Percy nervously. Scared the monster might get you, teased Douglas. He might, said Donald. There's no monster. There's two. There's not. Is two. Is not. Is two. Lord Callan Castle is in Misty Valley. Donald and Douglas were determined to get their important goods to the castle in time. They puffed proudly across the loch towards their destination. There it is, cried Donald. We're almost there, shouted Douglas. But there was trouble ahead. Trees had fallen across the line. Donald and Douglas stopped just in time. Then suddenly, there was a loud crash. The brakemen had been hit by a landslide and come off the rails. They were stuck. We could take the causeway, said Donald's driver. Douglas's driver knew that the causeway was old and rickety. It's too dangerous, he said. We'll never get to the castle in time now, chuffed Donald. I'll call for help. Splendid outfit, sir. Sir Topham Hatt was trying on his present from Lord Callan when he heard the news. Donald and Douglas trapped by the loch, he said. I'll send help as soon as I can. But the hours passed. It grew dark and cold, and still no one had come. Suddenly, the twins spotted something strange through the mist. What's that? Called Donald. Is it the monster? Cried Douglas. For sure it is, answered Donald. It's not a monster, it's us. It was Harvey and the breakdown crane. Donald and Douglas were relieved. By morning, the lines were clear. Donald and Douglas hurried off to the castle. Lord Callan's workers were waiting to unload the freight cars. Soon, the castle was decorated. The grand opening was a great success. Lord Callan was pleased. A splendid pair of engines, and very useful too, added Sir Topham Hatt. Hooray! Answered the twins. Rheneas and the Rollercoaster. Rheneas is a brave little engine who enjoys working in the mountains on the island of Sodor. Even though he is little, Rheneas loves feeling like a really useful engine. One day, Sir Topham Hatt came to see Rheneas. "I have a very important job for you," he boomed. "An important job?" cried Rheneas. "Oh, thank you, sir." "You are to take some school children to the mountains. You must make sure they have a wonderful time and are back before their lunch." "Yes, sir," said Rheneas, but he was worried. He wasn't sure he would be good enough to make the trip special. When Rheneas arrived at the station, the children and teacher were waiting on the platform. "How am I going to make the children's trip really special?" he said to Rusty. "You know the mountains better than any engine," said Rusty. But Rheneas wasn't sure his trip would be exciting enough. He felt like a very little engine indeed. Sir Topham Hatt had told Rheneas' driver to point out all the beautiful sights along the way. "This is Sodor Castle," called his driver. "It is very special and important." Rheneas saw the castle every day. He didn't think it was special or important. "I must think of something exciting to do," he puffed to himself. "This is Valley View," said his driver. "And here's the viaduct." Rheneas was still unhappy. The trip didn't seem wonderful to him at all. Must be special, he thought. Meanwhile, Rusty was working on the rocky ridge line. Heavy rain had washed away the ground from underneath the tracks. "These lines are too bumpy and uneven," said the foreman. "The tracks must be closed for repair." Must be special. Rheneas was still trying to think of something that would make the children's trip special. He didn't know the linesman had forgotten to switch the points. Suddenly, Rheneas was on the wrong track. "Oh no! This line is closed for repair! Bust my buffers!" chuffed Rheneas. "Be careful!" cried Rusty. "These tracks are bumpy." Rheneas whooshed down the mountain like a roller coaster. The children cheered. Rheneas puffed up Rocky Ridge with all his might. His coach clattered and bumped and bounced along behind. And the children wooed and ah. Rheneas huffed and puffed as hard as he could. He steamed across the old trestle bridge. He was going so fast the teacher nearly lost her hat. Rheneas splashed under a waterfall. The children laughed happily, and the teacher covered her eyes. At last, they could see the station. Rheneas was very tired and worried. What will Sir Topham Hatt say? "Yeah," said the teacher. "Just in time for lunch." "It was the best school trip ever!" cried the children. Sir Topham Hatt wasn't cross with Rheneas. He was happy too. "You gave the children a wonderful trip. You really are a very useful engine." "Oh, thank you, sir," puffed Rheneas proudly. Rheneas didn't feel like a little engine anymore. Salty, stormy tale. The engines love working when the sun shines. One day, Thomas and Percy were helping Salty at the docks. But Salty was worried. It may be sunny now, matey, but there'll be a storm coming. It may be sunny now, matey, but there'll be a storm coming. There'll be a fierce storm on the way, Captain, peeped Percy. Salty knew that they were making fun of him. He felt sad. Later, Sir Tom had arrived. I want you to fetch Fergus from the repair yard, he said. His driver doesn't know the line. Aye, aye, sir, replied Salty sadly. Salty was glad that he'd be going to the repair yards. He didn't like to stay where he wasn't liked. What's wrong? Asked Emily. No one likes to be made fun of by silly tank engines. And he huffed away. Emily knew she had to find Thomas and Percy immediately. Those be dark clouds, matey, whistled Thomas. There'll be a fierce storm on the way, Captain, peeped Percy. Emily was cross. It's not nice to copy the way others speak. You hurt Salty's feelings. We were just having fun, said Percy. We'll say sorry to him, added Thomas. But Salty was nowhere to be found. Fergus was waiting for Salty when he arrived at the repair yards. Right on time, congratulated Fergus. Aye, but there'll be a storm coming, said Salty. We must hurry. Soon they were hooked up and on their way home. Salty was right about the storm. It was a fierce one. The ships at sea depend upon the lighthouse to keep them safely off the rocks. But now there was trouble. The lighthouse lamp has gone out, cried the captain. Salty and Fergus were fighting their way through the wind and rain. Then Salty saw a lantern ahead. The lighthouse keeper was waiting for him. Our lighthouse lamp has gone out. Our generator is broken. Salty had an idea. Fergus has a flywheel. It could power the generator. Hurry! Shouted the lighthouse keeper. Fergus's flywheel was attached to the generator shaft. Without the lighthouse, the ship was steaming towards the rocks. Fergus was working as fast as he could. Finally, the generator came back to life. The lighthouse beam shone across the stormy sea once more. Just in time! Hard the starboard, matey! Salty's idea had saved the day. Fergus worked hard until first light. The next morning, Salty and Fergus chugged back to the docks. They were surprised to see a crowd waiting for them. Thank you, said the captain. You saved our ship. Well done, boomed Sir Topham Hatt. Salty was very proud. We're sorry if we hurt your feelings, puffed Thomas. We are only copying you because we think you're grand. Then say no more, me hearties, replied Salty happily. Now they will all work together and have fun together, as good friends should. Yippee.
There's a dockside diesel we know well, who can spin a yarn, who can tell a tale. He loves the sea and ships that sail, Salty is his name. He works so hard, he's very, very proud. His friends all love him being around. When the sun goes down, they'll gather round for a tale or a song of the sea.
On with the sailor's song, follow on, salty song, follow the leader bird, follow the leader bird. Salty, tell us another one, salty, spin us another one, salty, why not slowly be true? Salty, oh salty, they like our dreams come true.
Everyone knows that troublesome trucks push their luck, get the engine stuck. If someone knows just what to do, Salty is his name. When he rolls along, he hums his song, a pretty little song, and they tag along, and his rhythm makes them follow on. Homeward bound they go.
On with the sailor's song, follow on, salty song, follow the leader bird, follow the leader bird. Salty, sing us another one, salty, spin us another one, salty, why was the way we'll do? Salty, oh salty, we'll always follow. Salty, tell us another one, salty, spin us another one, salty, tell us another one true. Salty, oh salty, we'll always follow. We'll always follow. And make our dreams come true.
Snow engine. Oliver and Duck are Great Western engines. They deliver goods and passengers when the roads are closed by deep snow. Oliver thinks snow is messy and cold. I'm a Great Western engine, he chuffed one day. I shouldn't have to shiver. Begging your pardon, Mr. Oliver, said Toad, but I think snow is splendid. Later, Oliver saw some children building a giant snowman for their winter festival. Each time Oliver passed by the snowman, it grew bigger and bigger and bigger. And bigger. Just an observation, Mr. Oliver. Snow is magical. Pah. Finally, the snowman was complete. Oliver chuffed back to his warm, cozy shed. Sir Topham Hatt was waiting for him. You have to return to Arlesborough Harbor, he said. Some goods are needed for the festival. but all this work makes my wheels feel chilly. Really useful engines work hard, whatever the weather. Soon, Oliver was loaded and on his way. The snow was cold. It had frozen the points and diverted Oliver onto the wrong line. "Whoa, shiver my boiler!" cried Oliver. His driver applied the brakes. "Is there a problem, Mr. Oliver?" "Yeah, there is!" Whoop! Oliver had come off the tracks, crashed the buffers, and into the children's snowman. That could have been a little smoother. The snowman's head fell right off. Oliver felt awful. He thought the children would be upset about their snowman. Oliver's driver went to find help. Sir Topham Hatt was just leaving his office when he got a call. "Duck will bring the breakdown train first thing in the morning," he said. Oliver's driver returned and told him the bad news. "I'll be out here all night," moaned Oliver. "I'm afraid so." Luckily, the village inn had a toasty, warm room for Oliver's driver. But Oliver was getting colder and colder. His fire had gone out, and his funnel was covered in icicles. "Oh, I was right all along. There's nothing magical about snow." Ooh. Toad was beginning to think Oliver might be right. Next morning, the children saw the situation. "Look," a little girl shouted. "Our snowman has eyes in its tummy." "No, it doesn't," laughed a boy. "It's Oliver." That gave the children an idea. When Oliver woke up, he was surrounded by happy children. "Oliver's a wonderful snow engine," they cried. Oliver was so relieved that suddenly he didn't feel cold anymore. Duck arrived with the breakdown train. But when he did, Oliver didn't want to leave. He was enjoying the Winter's Festival so much. "You were right, Toad," Oliver called. "There are some magical things about snow." "Perhaps, Mr. Oliver," shivered Toad. "Oh, definitely." Something fishy. Arthur loves working on the island of Sodor. He is new to the railway and is still learning his way around. One morning, he discovered the fishing village. The sun made the water sparkle and the seagulls called from across the harbor. This was Arthur's favorite place. That evening, Sir Topham Hatt came to the sheds. "There's going to be a new line to the fishing village. I have to decide which engine shall run it." He paused impressively. Thomas and Percy both looked away. They had enough work to do. Arthur hoped he would be chosen. "Thomas, you will work the new line." "Yes, sir," said Thomas, but he really did not like the smell of fish. Arthur was disappointed. Sir Topham Hatt had sent the whole coal to the steelworks. That evening, Thomas was at the washdown when Arthur puffed in. "Do I smell a fishy engine?" he teased. "Yes," huffed Thomas. "Smelly fish, smelly new line." Arthur wished he could go work at the fishing village instead of the steelworks. He'd be much happier than Thomas. The next morning, Thomas was still grumpy. The fisherman had caught lots of fish. "Hurry up," said Thomas. "I'm a busy engine." "And a fussy one, too," said the fisherman. "Just enjoy the fresh, salty smell of the fish." "You," puffed Thomas. Thomas steamed as fast as he could along the line. But there was trouble ahead. Some faulty points sent his freight cars one way, and Thomas onto the old pier rail. Whoa, whoa, whoa! The Troublesome Trucks were delighted. "He's fallen in the water!" Luckily, Thomas wasn't hurt, and the fish freight car stayed on the tracks. When Sir Tom Mat heard the news, he checked his timetable. "Arthur is the nearest engine. I'll send him right away." It was a hot day. The ice that was keeping the fish cold started to melt. "I hope someone comes quickly," moaned Thomas. "That fish will spoil soon." Arthur was surprised to see Thomas in the tidal pool. "Are you all right, Thomas?" "No, but I'll be much better when you take these fish away." "The breakdown van will be here soon," called his driver. Arthur knew he had to hurry. He raced along the line to the docks and arrived there just in time. Later, Arthur went to see Thomas at the fitter's yard. "Thank you for helping me," said Thomas. "Thank you," said Arthur. "I wish I had the fishing village line all the time." "Well, please tell Sir Tom Hat, because I do not like the smell of fish." That evening, Sir Tom Hat came to the sheds. "I need an engine to go to the fishing village while Thomas is being repaired," he said. "Any volunteers?" "Me," Arthur blurted out. "And please, sir, may I run that line all the time? Thomas doesn't like fish, but I do." "The line is yours," said Sir Tom Hat. Arthur was delighted. The next morning, he puffed into the fishing village right on time. The smell of fish was everywhere, but he was sure he had the most beautiful line on the island of Sodor. The Runaway Elephant. The engines on the island of Sodor were excited. A new park was being built. Everyone was working hard to get the job finished on time. Duncan was feeling impatient. "Get a move on, slow coach," he puffed crossly to Rusty. "You're so slow, I finished first," Duncan boasted to Skarloey. Skarloey was cross. A little later, he met Rusty at the new park station. "Duncan thinks he's fast," Skarloey steamed, "but he's just a bossy boiler." "Better safe than fast," Rusty agreed. Duncan drew into the station. He was all puffed up and pleased. "I finished first," he wheezed proudly. "In that case," said Sir Tom Hat, "I've got another job for you. You are to collect an elephant on the siding and take it to the new park." "Yes, sir," chuffed Duncan. "This elephant is very important. You must be very careful." When Duncan saw the elephant, he was surprised. "Why, it's only a statue," he said. This is an easy job. You must wait for the brake van, said the station master. This statue is very heavy. Nonsense, huffed Duncan to his driver. I've pushed heavier loads than this plenty of times. Let's go, Duncan, said his driver, but we must be careful in that case. So they left, but without the brake van. But Duncan wasn't careful at all. He was impatient. We'll show them how fast I could be, Duncan whistled. We'll deliver the statue and I'll still finish first. Duncan started to speed up. Soon, Duncan was going as fast as his wheels could carry him. His driver started to worry. So he tried the brake, but Duncan was out of control. He was scared. He had never gone this fast before. People waved and cars tooted as Duncan sped by. Suddenly, a tractor trundled across Duncan's line. "Look out!" shouted his driver. Slow down, hooted Rusty. I can't, Duncan cried as he shot past. Whoa! Elephant Park loomed ahead. Duncan's driver applied the brakes one more time, but it was already too late. The statue flew into the air and landed in the lake. Luckily, no one was hurt. In no time, Sir Topham had arrived. He was cross. I told you to be careful. You should have waited for the brake van, he said sternly. I'm sorry, sir, mumbled Duncan. He felt very embarrassed. Duncan was repaired in time for the grand opening. He was still surprised to see the elephant standing in the lake. Everyone loves the elephant in the lake, said Lady Hat. Even if it was a mistake, added Sir Topham Hatt. Hooray for Duncan's mistake, cheered the engines. Duncan blushed and went a deep shade of red.
Hurry
Peace
up.
and
Hey, don't interrupt me.
Okay, sorry, Henry. Goods arrive night and day at the docks. Sometimes, Henry and the other engines work so hard their axles ache. Sir Topham Hatt brought a new engine to help with the heavy workloads. He was long, had 10 driving wheels, and he looked very strong. This is Murdoch. He's going to be pulling freight on the main line. Ahoy, matey, shouted Salty. Welcome, Murdoch, called Harvey. You're the biggest engine I've ever seen, cried Thomas. Ugh, you're a chatty lot, Murdoch said quietly. Soon, Murdoch was coupled to a long line of heavy freight cars. His boiler strained, his wheels started to turn, and the mighty engine chuffed away. Murdoch longed for some peace and quiet, but everywhere he went, it was noisy and crowded. At the end of the day, Murdoch was looking forward to a good night's rest, but Salty and Harvey were full of questions. What's the longest train you've ever pulled? Have you ever worked Marseille? Have you ever had a crash? Please, I just want some peace and quiet. I don't want to share a shed with chatterbox engines. No need to be rude, huffed Harvey. Hey, we're only being friendly, matey. The next morning, Murdoch collected another long, heavy freight train. This time, he chuffed into the beautiful countryside. It was splendid. At last, he had some peace and quiet. Well, narrator, why don't you shut up? Geez, Henry, now you? Anyways, suddenly, his driver applied the brakes. There were sheep on the tracks. The sheep must have escaped from that field, said the driver, through that broken fence. The driver and fireman tried to chase the sheep back. First this way, then that way. They tried everything, but nothing seemed to work. We'll never move these sheep by ourselves, complained the fireman. I'll go phone for help, sighed the driver. Murdoch was unhappy. The noisy sheep were spoiling his peace and quiet. Like you! Shut up! Sir Topham Hatt was enjoying afternoon tea when he got the call. Sheep? He exclaimed loudly. I'll send Toby with the farmer immediately. The sheep were becoming noisier and noisier. Please stop, groaned Murdoch. I'd rather be back with the chatterbox engines. Just then, Toby chuffed in the view. Toby! Exclaimed Murdoch. We are certainly glad to see you. Before long, the farmer and his dog were at work. And the sheep were soon safely in their fields. Murdoch was soon on his way again. Thanks, Toby, Murdoch chuffed happily. That evening, Murdoch parked between Harvey and Salty, but Murdoch spoke first. I'm sorry I was cross, he chuffed. I'm very pleased to share a shed with you. And we're very pleased to have your company, said Harvey. Aye, we are, added Salty. It reminds me of a story. Murdoch smiled. The sound of bah bah would have kept him awake, but a salty story would send him happily to sleep.
Morning sunshine, brand new day, busy day for the railway. Engines rolling to and froing, rushing by on the railway. But today is a special day for, have you heard the news? Something special is happening. Have you heard the news? Have you heard? Pass the word. Have you heard? There are 5 new engines in the shed. 5 new friends in the shed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you believe your eyes? 5 new engines in the shed.
Fergus breaks the rules. Thomas and Fergus the traction engine are friends. Fergus is the pride of the cement works. He knows all the rules and obeys them. One day, Sir Topham Hatt brought Devious Diesel to work at the cement works.
I need Diesel to help a while. Please show him around.
Yes, said Fergus unhappily. He knew that Diesel could be trouble. Later, Diesel was being careless. Not like that, snapped Fergus. Do it right.
Don't interfere.
Sneered Diesel. You don't know the rules, shouted Fergus. Diesel was very annoyed with Fergus and started plotting a devious plan. Later that day, he pretended to have news for Fergus.
Sir Topham Hatt wants you to work at the smelters.
Me? But I'm the pride of the cement works.
Not anymore. Sir Topham Hatt says I'm better than you, so I'm going to stay here.
It's not fair. I love working here. But he knew that a really useful engine has to do as they're told. Fergus and his driver arrived at the smelters. I want to go back to the cement works, wailed Fergus. None of the other engines like coming here. It's so scary. You're right, said his driver. Just then, the scrap dealers arrived. Hello, are you happy to be here? No! Cried Fergus. His driver was scared too. Come on, Fergus, we're going to escape. And for the first time, Fergus broke the rules. Sir Topham Hatt was enjoying a tasty fish supper when he heard that Fergus was missing.
That's not like Fergus. There must be something wrong. I will send Thomas to look for him.
Fergus and his driver turned onto an unused track to find a place to hide. Fergus was frightened. So was Thomas. He puffed up and down the line. He couldn't see Fergus anywhere. We could check the old mine track, said his driver. That line's dark and spooky, whispered Thomas. But he had to be brave and find Fergus. Fergus was on an old siding. His fire had gone out. Then he heard a sound. It's an engine, he cried. Fergus, whistled Thomas. Whatever are you doing out here? Hiding. Don't want to work at the smelters. Sir Topham Hatt is going to be cross with me. He's not, cried Thomas. He's worried about you. Really? Of course, puffed Thomas. Fergus felt better. Thomas pulled Fergus all the way back to the smelter's yard, where he knew Sir Topham Hatt was waiting.
Fergus, explain yourself.
I ran away. It's scary here. Diesel told Fergus that you wanted him to work at the smelters forever.
Nonsense! Fergus, you are the pride of the cement works. I shall send Diesel to the smelters, and you can go back to the cement works tomorrow.
Oh, thank you, sir, said Fergus happily. Fergus knew he had a good friend in Thomas, and he was still the pride of the cement works. Bulgy rides again. In the summertime, there is no better place to be than the island of Sodor. The engines are happy to show vacationers the wonderful sights to be seen. But this year, there was a problem. Thomas and Emily were in the foundries for repairs.
I need to find a new way to carry more passengers, grumbled Sir Topham Hatt. We have more vacationers.
And fewer engines, said Emily. A double-decker problem, added Thomas.
A double-decker problem?
This gave Sir Topham Hatt an idea. He drove straight to Bulgy's field. Bulgy is a double-decker bus. He was turned into a henhouse after causing a silly accident.
Good news, Bulgy. I'm putting you back on the roads.
Thank you, sir. I'll be the best bus ever. Bulgy never liked being a henhouse anyways. The next day, he went to the foundry. Bulgy, exclaimed Thomas, what are you doing here?
I'm being repaired. I'm going back on the road.
I think you'll be helping the new farmer, said Emily. He needs to deliver his vegetables around the island.
Vegetables? I'm gonna carry passengers.
Soon, Bulgy was refitted inside and out. He looked smart and shiny. Even James was impressed. Ooh. When Bulgy returned to his field, the hens thought their old house looked splendid. We'll start in the morning, said his driver. You'll stay here tonight. Bulgy was soon fast asleep. But the hens missed their old home. One by one, they crept aboard and went to sleep in the luggage racks. Bulgy knew nothing. The next morning, Bulgy picked up lots of passengers. All aboard, he tooted, and set off for the station. He was driving so smoothly that the hens didn't wake up. All was well until Bulgy turned a corner. Trevor was pulling a hay cart.
Get out of my way!
He overtook Trevor. Bulgy swerved. The hens woke up. The passengers panicked, and Bulgy's driver lost control. The hens were frightened. They flapped, they squawked. Stop! Cried Bulgy's passengers. We want to get off! The passengers were covered in feathers and broken eggs. They were very cross. This bus is full of hens, they complained. We shall tell Sir Topham Hatt.
It's not my fault, sulked Bulgy.
Sir Topham Hatt sent Bulgy to be cleaned.
Silly hens, silly passengers, you can have them both.
The farmer still needs help with his vegetables, said Emily.
The vegetable bus? Hey, that's not such a bad idea.
And we're back carrying passengers, smiled Thomas. Bulgy is happy now. He has new green paintwork and a smart serving hatch. Sir Topham Hatt agreed he can be the island's only vegetable stand on wheels. Bulgy likes carrying vegetables. They don't lay eggs, and they never complain. Harold and the Flying Horse. Harold the helicopter is glad not to be a steam engine. He is much happier flying in the sky than racing along on road or rail. One sunny morning, the engines were busy preparing for the vicar's annual garden party. "I'd like to help," called Harold, "but I'm on patrol." He was looking for engines that might be in trouble. Meanwhile, the engines puffed to and fro with the loads for the party. Percy was delivering deck chairs, decorations, tables, and tea urns, and most importantly, reminders. "Don't forget to come to the vicar's party."
Thanks for the invitation, called Harold, but duty calls.
And he whirred away. Harold was landing at his airfield to collect more fuel when he saw Pegasus, the cart horse that lived close by. Pegasus was getting ready to give rides to the children. He had a shiny leather harness and a freshly painted cart. Harold was beginning to feel left out of the celebrations. He wished more than ever that he could help. Thomas puffed in with some passengers.
Where are you going next?
Buzzed Harold. To the vicar's party, of course. Everyone's going.
Well, everyone except me, replied Harold. I'm still on duty.
Yes, indeed, said Thomas kindly. Being a rescue helicopter is important work. But no one needs rescuing, sighed Harold. Then came a surprise. Harold's pilot received an urgent call from Sir Topham Hatt.
Pegasus is stuck in a ditch. If he doesn't get to the vicar's party, the children will be very disappointed. You must rescue him, at once.
All set and ready for action, reported Harold. Pegasus? Wondered Percy. That's a funny name for a horse.
It's the name of a flying horse in a very old story, explained Sir Topham Hatt.
Flying horse? Exclaimed Percy. Horses can't fly. He felt very clever. Harold flew to the rescue as fast as he could.
What happened? He asked Thomas.
We were loading the cart. Pegasus wandered off into the ditch. Silly horse. Now he's stuck. If you can take him, I can take the cart.
I'll put Pegasus in my sling.
We need to hurry, little Thomas. The party is about to begin. And he steamed away. Soon, Harold's pilot had fitted Harold's sling under Pegasus. Then Harold lifted him gently into the air. When Percy saw Pegasus flying through the sky, he was amazed. Well, flatten my funnel, so horses can fly after all. The children cheered for Harold. He had saved the day. Soon, Pegasus was hitched up to the cart. The party was a big success, and the children had a wonderful time. Harold was happy. He had stayed on duty and had fun at the party too. Huzzah!
The grand opening. The engines on the mountain railway were excited. They were helping to build a new line. It would take visitors to even more beautiful places on the island of Sodor. Sir Topham Hatt arrived with important news. The grand opening is this afternoon. I want to see the new line from the air. Lady Hatt and I will arrive on Harold the helicopter. Just then, Skarloey chugged in. You're late for the announcements, complained Sir Topham Hatt. Really useful engines are never late. I'm sorry, sir. At the airfield, there was another problem. Harold's experiencing some engine troubles, said the pilot. Harold's not going anywhere today. Lady Hatt was most upset. But I've been looking forward to the grand opening all week. And I, my dear, will find a solution. And he did. Topham, you can't be serious. Me, right at this? The wind direction is perfect. We'll be there in no time. Soon the hot air balloon rose into the sky. Skarloey was upset. All this extra work is going to make me late again. The hot air balloon was floating peacefully through the sky. Lady Hatt was enjoying herself. The new line looks splendid, she said. Thank you, my dear, replied Sir Topham Hatt. Down the track, the workmen were still loading their ladders. Hurry up! Hurry up! Skarloey puffed. If Skarloey doesn't hurry, sighed Sir Topham Hatt, he'll be late again. All the engines were ready for the grand opening. Where's Skarloey? Rusty asked. He promised he'd be on time, said Peter Sam. At last, Skarloey was on his way. Then there was trouble. The balloon's flames suddenly went out. The air in the balloon cooled, and the balloon started to fall. Hold tight, the pilot called. I want to get out, demanded Lady Hatt. Not now, dear, said Sir Topham Hatt.
Puffed Skarloey. They're going awfully low. Wait, that balloon's gonna land in the tree, cried Skarloey. And it came down, right in front of him. There's Sir Topham Hatt. My hat is ruined, cried Lady Hatt. So is mine, said Sir Topham Hatt. Don't worry, cried Skarloey's driver. We'll soon have you down. Am I glad to see you, Skarloey. Thank you, sir. Before long, Sir Topham Hatt and Lady Hatt were safely on the ground. They boarded Skarloey's boxcars and set off at once. Everyone was waiting as Skarloey brought his important passengers to the grand opening. Sir Topham Hatt declared the new line open. With special thanks to Skarloey, he said, for helping us to get here. Everyone cheered. Even so, you were still late, teased Rusty. I know, said Skarloey, but because I was late, Sir Topham Hatt was right on time.
best dressed engine. It was May Day on the island of Sodor. Everyone was celebrating. They knew there'd be music and lots of fun. The station was being decorated. Sir Topham Hatt said the engines could be decorated too. "I'm gonna have flags and streamers," whistled Percy.
"I'm gonna have a big red banner," whistled Thomas. "What decorations will you have, Gordon?" asked Murdoch.
Decorations are dignified for an important engine like me. I pull the express. Gordon was feeling insulted. "Silly little engines," he grunted.
As he puffed along, he grumbled more.
"Me with decorations. What cheek!"
Meanwhile, Thomas was enjoying himself. He was bringing the maypole. The farmers' children waved. Thomas peeped happily as he passed by. Soon, it was time for the engines to be decorated. Percy's driver was wrapping streamers and flags around his funnel. Thomas had a big red banner on his tanks. Even Murdoch was decorated, although he was very shy about it. "You know, we could have a contest for best dressed engine," suggested James. Just then, Gordon shunted in.
"A contest?" he puffed. "I'm bound to win any contest."
"You'll have to be decorated," said James. "This is a best dressed engine competition."
"Not me," puffed Gordon. "You'll never catch me looking so ridiculous."
All the engines were feeling splendid. But not Gordon. He was cross.
"Decorations aren't dignified. Huh. Who cares about a contest anyways?"
Further down his line, a colorful banner was strung across the bridge. Then, as Gordon steamed across the bridge, it came loose and wrapped around his firebox. "Oh, what's happening?" Gordon couldn't see the line ahead. He tried to whoosh the banner off, but it wouldn't budge.
"I can't see!" he whistled loudly to his driver. "Stop!" "You can't stop, Gordon," his driver called. "You're the express." Trevor was chugging slowly along with his load of apples for the children's apple bob. Trevor heard a whistle. He was going as fast as he could, but it wasn't fast enough. Oh! The apples were smashed.
What even was that?
James was the last engine to join the contest. Or so he thought. "Here comes Gordon!" cried the passengers. "We didn't think you wanted to be decorated," teased Thomas.
"I didn't," huffed Gordon.
"Well, you definitely are the best-dressed engine," said James. All the engines laughed and agreed. Gordon was secretly pleased, however, but he didn't think it was dignified to say so. Silly Gordon. There once was an engine who ran away, just up and went, and ran away, sacked up his tender, headed down the line, toot toot, farewell, goodbye. You ever heard the wicked old diesel say he was heading for the scrapyard any day? He didn't want to wait for that fateful day, so the little old engine ran away. He huffed and he puffed, his wheels started turning. He chuffed and he chuffed, his little firebox burning. He slipped his brakes and let his whistle fly. Toot toot, farewell, goodbye. And the little old engine ran away, just up and wait, and ran away. Didn't feel part of the railway, so the little old engine ran away. When the other engines heard he'd gone, they felt so sad, cause they knew he had got it wrong. No matter what the diesel had to say, their Topham has the final say. So they thought, where could he go? Some searched high, the other searched low. Where did he run? Where did he go? They gotta bring the little engine home. So they all went out to look around, far and wide, and up and down. No matter what search, no one seemed to know. Oh, where did the little old engine go? Thomas finally tracked him down. He was cold and blue and all alone. He told him that he needed back urgently. Who, me? Really? Yes, you silly engine. Cause he's the pride of the railway. So they huffed and he puffed, his wheels started turning. He chuffed and he chuffed, he the firebox burning. He slipped his brakes and then he was on his way. Toot toot, hip hip, hooray! Now the little old engine's heading home. The toots and cheers, here's whistle blow. Now here's the pride of the railway. Look everybody, here comes Fergus. Hooray! Yes, the little old engine's coming home. Gordon and Spencer. It was a sunny day on the island of Sodor, and all the engines were working hard. Gordon was feeling most excited.
Morning, Thomas. I look my best, and do you know why?
Why?
Because a Duke and Duchess are visiting, so Topham Hatt will be choosing me as their special engine. Pah!
After Gordon had been washed and polished, he rushed away to meet the visitors. But a signal diverted Gordon onto a siding. He was very upset.
I'm going to be late, he groaned.
Just then, a huge engine rocketed by.
Steaming pistons, who's that?
Gordon soon found out. When he arrived at the sheds, the huge engine was humming quietly.
Who are you?
This is Spencer. He's the fastest engine in the world.
Huh!
But secretly, Gordon was impressed.
I'm the Duke and Duchess's private engine. I take them everywhere.
Quiet. There'll be a party for the Duke and Duchess at Meron Station.
That's far away over Gordon's Hill. You'll need to take on plenty of water.
I have plenty of water, he wished. And Spencer raced away.
I was only trying to be useful.
Spencer showed the Duke and Duchess many beautiful places. But he never stopped once to take on more water. Gordon and Thomas were collecting passengers when Spencer raced through on his way to the party.
Don't forget the water!
Who cares? He'll be in trouble soon, sighed Thomas. And Spencer was. He ran out of water on Gordon's hill.
Oh, why didn't I listen?
Sir Topham Hatt soon heard the news. I'll send Gordon, he boomed. When Gordon arrived, the station master was waiting. You need to rescue Spencer. He's stuck on the hill, silly engine. Hurry, Gordon, shouted his driver. Gordon was looking forward to seeing Spencer. Run out of water? He teased.
Yes, I must have a leaky tank.
Perhaps, but we better hurry. Everyone is waiting. Gordon switched on the Spencer's line and was soon coupled up. And with 2 toots of his whistle, they set off.
See, we're right on time.
But Spencer was embarrassed. So what do you think of Spencer now, James?
Too much puff and not enough steam.
Well done, said Sir Topham Hatt. You are the fastest engine on Sodor.
I knew that,
Gordon said proudly. Not So Hasty Puddings. It was Christmas time on the island of Sodor, and Sir Topham Hatt's engines were busy. The snow made their journeys difficult. They had to work hard to deliver passengers and goods to their destinations on time. This made the engines feel very reliable. Elizabeth pulled into the fitter's yard, carrying Thomas's snowplow. I don't need that silly old thing. Stuff and nonsense. You can't be a reliable engine if you can't get through the snow. That made Thomas cross. You know I'm reliable. I just don't like my snowplow. Elizabeth is rude, and this snowplow makes my buffers ache. Later, Thomas saw Sir Topham Hatt talking to Elizabeth. The Sodor pudding factory is snowed in. Their Christmas puddings must get to the docks before their ship sails for the mainland. Let me do the job. I need to work on your line, Thomas. Besides, Elizabeth knows those roads very well. She's very reliable. I'm reliable too, huffed Thomas. Apparently not reliable enough, Elizabeth chuffed. Now Thomas was crosser still. The snow was heavy, but Thomas arrived at every station right on time. Elizabeth, however, was struggling to stay on the roads. Her wheels did not like the slippery ice at all.
When Thomas arrived to pick up Terence, he was surprised that Elizabeth had not returned. "The ship will miss the tide," said the dock manager, "and the children won't have their Christmas puddings. Thomas, you must go look for Elizabeth at once. I'm getting hungry."
Yes, sir? Answered Thomas. Perhaps Elizabeth isn't so reliable after all.
At the pudding factory, Elizabeth was piled high with crates of Christmas puddings. "So Topham Hatt is counting on me. I mustn't be late." She chuffed onto the icy roads. Suddenly, she was on a steep hill. Her driver applied the brakes. Elizabeth slid out of control into a deep snowdrift. Poor Elizabeth. Thomas and Terence were puffing through the swirling snow. They couldn't see Elizabeth anywhere. Soon, they had spotted her driver. He was standing by the level crossing. "Elizabeth's stuck under the snow," her driver explained. "I need help to dig her out." Terence rescued her in no time. "We'll have to hurry," said Thomas. "It wasn't your fault, Elizabeth. It was those slippery roads." Elizabeth felt much better. Thomas chuffed and puffed as fast as he could. "So, what happened to that Terence guy?" "Oh, I left him behind." "Well, why?" "Yeah, he embarrassed me once in the snow." Sir Topham Hatt was delighted to see the bakery crates, and also that Elizabeth was safe as well. "We'll get you unloaded immediately." "Now the children will have their Christmas puddings," said Thomas. "Well done," said Sir Topham Hatt. "Time for a snack." "Oh, thank you, Thomas," said Elizabeth. "You and I are both reliable." Thomas agreed. Wait, why is Sir Topham Hatt driving away with all the puddings? Trusty Rusty. Rusty repairs the railway that winds through the mountains on the island of Sodor. The little diesel checks the tracks, tunnels, and bridges. All are in good working order. One day, Rusty was crossing the old bridge when there was a bump in the tracks. Rusty's driver stopped to check the bridge. "There are cracks in the supports," he said. "Oh, that could be dangerous," cried Rusty. "It might fall down if it's not repaired." And they hurried off to warn the other engines. The engines were waiting for their coal when Rusty arrived. "Don't use the old wooden bridge," said Rusty. "It's dangerous." "How would you know?" wheezed Duncan. "You're only a diesel." And he puffed away crossly. He didn't even wait for his coal. Rusty hurried down the mountain to tell Sir Topham Hatt the bad news. "Thank you," said Sir Topham Hatt. "I'll send engineers to investigate the bridge. Meanwhile, nobody is to use it." Rusty's driver put up a sign. Line closed. The engines had to travel a different way. Meanwhile, Duncan needed more coal to get home. But when he arrived at the coal bunker, it was empty. "Bother! I won't be able to get home without more coal. Where's the nearest bunker?" "On the other side of the old bridge. But you can't cross it. Rusty says it's not safe." "Rubbish! Rusty always makes things sound worse than they are." "I'm sure one trip over the old wooden bridge wouldn't hurt," added his driver.
When they got to the junction, Duncan's driver removed the sign. And they set off towards the bridge. This was a big mistake. Suddenly, Duncan hissed to a halt. I'm all out of steam. He had used up all his coal. What's that? He asked nervously. His driver looked out. The old wooden bridge was starting to collapse. Rusty, called Skarloey. Duncan's gone across the old bridge. I'd better check if he's alright, the little diesel said. But the cracks in the supports were getting larger. A beam snapped. Timber pieces splashed into the water below. Help! Whistled Duncan. I'm going to fall! Rusty was on the way. Soon, the little diesel reached the old wooden bridge. Duncan had never looked so scared. Rusty chuffed bravely onto the bridge. Careful, gasped Duncan. Soon, they were coupled up. Hold on, said Rusty. Whoa! Shouted Duncan. The little diesel pulled him off the bridge just in time. Sir Topham Hatt was very cross. That was very irresponsible. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. And Rusty, you were very brave. Yes, Rusty, you are a really useful engine. Thank you, sir. Rusty felt very reliable, too.
Hooray for Thomas! It was an exciting day on the island of Sodor. Good morning, called Harold. Annie and Clarabelle were full of happy children. Thomas was taking them to their annual sports day. Everything was ready for the day to begin. I do hope I'm number one and win a medal, said a boy. It must be splendid to win a medal, chuffed Thomas. After all, I'm engine number one. Thomas worked hard all afternoon, but he couldn't stop thinking about medals. He imagined himself wearing a gold medal on a bright red ribbon.
Yes, that's very smart, he thought.
Hello, Thomas, whistled Percy. I'm taking Sir Topham Hatt to the sports day. You can see the egg and spoon race, chuffed Thomas. I didn't know eggs and spoons had races. The children race with eggs and spoons, said Bertie. And the winner gets a medal. I wish I could have a medal. You need to win a race first, whistled Percy. I'll race you, Thomas. The first one to the station is the winner. You're on, called Thomas. All right, ready, steady, go.
Bertie was in the lead until he saw Trevor ahead, pulling a hay cart.
Oh, would you move it?
Better hurry, Bertie, peeped Thomas. Then, Thomas had to stop to pick up some passengers. Hurry yourself, Thomas, teased Bertie as he rattled over the bridge.
Then, Bertie had to stop at the level crossing. "Last one there puffs hot air," called Thomas.